If you told me a few years ago that I'd be here today telling my story about addiction, I'd probably have told you you're lying. You need stories that jabba, and that would never happen to me. But here I am today sharing my story about my struggle with alcohol addiction, my healing journey until where I am right now. Welcome to episode 1 of the Comfortable Couch podcast. My name is Marian Mora, and here is my story. So let's start from the beginning. Where do I begin? I was born from a very religious, let me say a strong Christian foundation with my mom, my dad, and 3 siblings. So I've had a really, I can say, stable upbringing in my childhood. So I would go to church, went to primary school. I was really like a church girl, a very outgoing person. I always wanted to be a journalist when I was a kid, and I'd read news in front of my family in the living room. I had so many hopes and dreams, and I had so many friends. Life tulikuwa poa. So growing up in a setting where we were mainly on religion, let me say on the Christian religion and morals. I was held to a very high, I think I can say, moral standard throughout my childhood. And I went to high school. Everything was still pretty much the same. Hakuna kitu big naeza kumbuka up to that point. I remember at some point nilikuwa the Christian Union chairperson. And, I thought I was going to finish high school, go to uni, get married, probably just live happily ever after, raise my kids in the church just like I grew up. And then I went to campus. And I remember the campus I went to, where I went to high school, ilikuwa public school. So maybe the culture was a bit different from where I went to uni. I went to an international university, and there was culture shock for me, at least in the beginning, because people came from so many nationalities, over 60 if I recall well. Now, there was so much to learn, different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, different tribes, different everything. So this was almost like a new beginning for me, having my identity at that point. And I remember just feeling a sense of freedom. I've always been a curious girl. I've always wanted to try something new, maybe a little bit on the rebellious side, but yeah, you can say that. So this was like a breath of fresh air. I really had a strict upbringing. So going to uni for me was a way for me to express myself the best way I knew how to. And I was so happy to actually find that space to do so. And in the moment of experimenting, I can say my freshman year and second year, ilikuwa tu sawa, just like a regular campus girl. Went to parties here and there. I remember I would lie to my parents that I'm going to a sleepover, and then I'd meet up with my friends, and then we'd sneak out and go partying. And that was just, honestly, at that time, or even now, I think that's maybe a little bit of a normal campus girl behavior, not too extreme in my opinion. So that worked out well. I had so much fun. I had my first experiment with alcohol at 18 years. I think I was 18. And I remember the feeling of highness, just, sijui naeza explain aje. It was like liberating from something. It almost felt like I've had a void, or I've had this loneliness for a very long time, and alcohol seemed to solve my problem. That first time I had a drink. And since then, I always wanted to call my friends, hit them up, know where they are, just so that I could go to the club, or I could go dancing, drinking, and get that feeling again. Slowly by slowly, I was now starting to enjoy the party life, and it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, like partying can be fun, especially if you're young. Hauna stress mob ya maisha. Maybe your biggest problem ni finishing assignments in school and maybe being broke, because most people in uni are broke. But I didn't have like major problems, I would say, at that point. So I was enjoying life, I was partying, and it became now a habit after some time. It became a habit, and I would go out regularly. When I graduated in 2014 with my undergraduate degree, I was still, I can say, I don't know if I had really jumped into the functional alcoholic phase, but I can say I was a regular consumer of alcohol. But somehow I managed to graduate, and I was so grateful for that. The real trouble happened when I graduated and then I moved out of my parents' house. Now I'm staying by myself. I got a job. I was lucky to get a job. I'm earning, I'm living my life. Now the partying became crazy. I started drinking more and more and more, and nobody could tell me anything because it's my money, it's my life. I already have a degree. And I remember the time I had enrolled for my master's. That's in 2015. The idea was for me to finish my undergraduate and my master's consecutively so I can focus on other things in life. And the drinking got so bad that after, I think about 2 semesters into my master's, I took a semester break. Actually, I had quit. I remember telling my dad, I don't think I want to continue this. And I was in a limbo at that time. I didn't think that this is something I wanted to do. And he really kept pushing me. He kept pushing me, tafadhali maliza.
I met Marian in USIU when we were doing our master's program. I've known her for quite a number of years. I know her character, and I know what she went through with the addiction. She's a very smart girl, but the addiction, was taking a toll on her because she could not be able to be stable or to hold something for long. After some time, she would just either give up on it or ruin it. So that was quite concerning.
Somehow I managed to graduate. I took a little bit of semester breaks here and there, but I managed to graduate with my master's in 2021. But at that time, I was now a chronic alcoholic. I was going through, I don't know, there was a lot of things that I was hiding from. I don't know if it was loneliness or it was character defects or it was trauma or all of those things combined. But at that point in time, I thought that I had a safe space and like a relationship with alcohol. So I would always run to alcohol, whether I was in a happy mood, whether I was in a sad mood, whether I was just bored. Alcohol just became my thing for a very long time. And at this time, I didn't realize that I was now an addict.
It is very difficult to live with a patient who's deep in addiction. I experienced that when my daughter was in addiction, and this one, it emotionally and physically affected me badly. I was constantly worried about her safety, her health, her career, her future, and I became always unhappy and always wondering, how am I going to cope with her situation? I could not sleep. I could cry the whole night because I couldn't know where she is. And things became worse when she lost a very good, important international job, which was very high paying.
Because I would go to work either hungover, or I would leave work early so I can go and drink, or I would just not finish assignments. My career journey just, naweza sema ilisambaratika because of alcohol, because God has been very nice to me. I've gotten really good jobs. I've gotten the qualifications that I desired to get, but alcohol could not allow me to sustain a healthy lifestyle in terms of my career, my relationships, my goals, and my purpose in life. I had stopped caring about anything that ever mattered to me when I was a little girl, and now I was only thinking about getting the money, drinking the money away.
Kila mtu ako na pombe, kila mtu ako na pombe.
The reason I'm telling you guys this story is because I realized way later. I've been drinking all the way from 2012, I think, up until depressed. And one thing that that came to me yenye ilifanya nikasema sasa nimefika breaking point after nimeharibu relationships, I have ruined my career, I have ruined everything that ever mattered to me, is when I realized sasa nimeanza, I've started changing my friends. Nilikuwa na hang out kwa joints za changa. I would start other things other than alcohol, like weed, cigarettes. I'd started like familiarizing myself with those. They didn't really get to me, I thank God, but I had started going to that direction, and I was getting very sad by the day. So I remember my mom at the time was staying with me, and she was very sad for me. She would cry all the time, and she'd ask me why I'm throwing my life away and what she can do to help me. But I was really in denial at that point.
Most of the time she was not eating. She was just living on drinking of alcohol. And could not even care about her neatness, whether she's neat or not. She was just there. Mm-hmm. She went to a situation where she lost touch with family. Even me, I could start looking at through those crooked friends. Or I look for other people, the drinking peer groups, because her phone was always off. Mm-hmm. Emotionally and physically, she was unhealthy. She went to an extent of saying rice all the time and could not eat at all. So she got finished.
Until, I don't know what exactly, I can't pinpoint exactly what happened, but naweza sema nilikuwa nimefika rock bottom. I had gotten to a place in my life where it was completely unmanageable and I wasn't loving my life. I didn't have anything to look forward to. Juninge lala nikiwa mlevi, niamke, I'm looking for alcohol, nikuwe mlevi. I just wanted to be high. And anytime I was sober or drunk, even the highness of alcohol wasn't really making me have the high, euphoric happiness that it used to long time ago. And I thought I was gonna die. In fact, so many times I was asking God, just take me, I tried to commit suicide a couple of times. I was telling God, just take me, because I have nothing really to live for. Now, last year I had hit rock bottom in terms of being very hopeless, very lonely, very guilty, feeling like a loser in my life. And I have a friend who's been encouraging me for so many years. Marian, I think you need to go to rehab. You need to go to rehab. You need to get some help. And I always ignored. And I need to mention that 2 years ago or 3 years ago, thereabouts, my family tried taking me to rehab. Na nilifika literally kwa gate. Na I said I cannot go. Na nikarudi. So they just left it. Ni kama walisema, maybe one day I'll decide it for myself. And that time was last year. I'm the one who requested my mom to take me to rehab because I had gotten to a place where I did not know any other way.
She just accepted to go to rehab through a friend who tried to convince her, a long-term friend who's a therapist, and she accepted to go for help. We didn't know that she would stay in the rehab, but she stayed for 3 months. She finished her time. We used to go and give her the support. The friend also used to come and feast her. And when the time was about to come out of the rehab, we got worried. How are we going to cope with her situation? Will we manage now that she will be with us?
I was so hungry for a new beginning. And I remember when thank God that she agreed to facilitate that for me, and she supported me very much through the whole process of doing my due diligence to finding the right rehab based on the stigma that surrounds rehabilitation facilities, especially in Kenya, finding the right professionals. And I can truly say that God ndio alikuwa tu na mimi hata kupata hiyo facility kwenye nilienda, because I walked into that rehab, and I remember I was even high on the day that I went to rehab, and I felt free. I felt like I used to feel back in the day when I was in high school, when I was a CU chair, when I would sing, when I had joy of things other than alcohol. I felt like I could actually think about me, because for a very long time, for more than 13 years of my active addiction, I had always been amidst of chaos, a lot of noise outside, a lot of things happening around me. I never took time to look within me. So going into that facility really helped me see myself for who I really am, see my weaknesses, see my mistakes, see my contribution to the problem, and see the root cause of what really got me to where I was at that time. And I remember feeling so much freedom. There was different programs, there was counseling sections, there was occupational therapy, so many things, the schedule, I would exercise, my therapy sessions with my therapist at the time. All of those things combined just made me feel like I had a safe space to first understand myself, get so much self-awareness, to be able to let go of the resentments that I had accumulated over the years, even for myself, because guilt, self-hate is also very, very key in pushing somebody to continue digging that hole of alcoholism and addiction. So I got to learn so much about myself and the people around me, my emotions, just holistically, while I was in the program. And I remember telling my God while I was praying there, I said, please, if I leave this place, give me a purpose, give me clarity of what I can do, because I cannot go back to the life that I was living for 13 years. That's not the person you created. That's not the vibrant, outgoing girl that you created. I'm a people person, but I was using my outgoing personality in the wrong way, putting myself in situations that only God, I believe up to now, saved me from. And that's how Hope Horizon idea came to me, bado nikiwa rehab. And I thought about creating a platform, a foundation that can help women like myself who are struggling with mental health issues and addiction issues, because those two, mental health and addiction, zina correlate. It's either you become an addict because of mental health issues, or you have mental health issues because of addiction, ama zote tu pamoja. So that's how Hope Horizon Wellness Foundation was born. And that's why we are here today. And the Comfortable Couch podcast is here just to have these real conversations with women just like myself. Because there's stigma, that I can tell you, still hadi sahi, this year as I'm speaking right now, there's still so much stigma around women who are struggling with addiction.
Rehab is supposed to be a place of healing, but let's be real. The system isn't perfect. And especially the Kenyan one, I think there's a lot of changes that needs to be there. The way addiction is treated, the way people are labeled, the way recovery is structured, it all needs to change. It's not about getting sober, it's about rebuilding the person from inside out. And too often the system misses that deeper transformation. But Marian, she wasn't defeated by it. She saw the crack. She questioned what was right. And instead of letting it break her, she used it as fuel. She did what so many people can't. She looked inward. She reflected. She changed her viewpoint. She made her recovery her own. And that's the real power of journey. She doesn't even think that what she's doing is so amazing. And she didn't just go through rehab. She outgrew the old ways of thinking. She stepped into something deeper, something real, something that actually lasts. And why her story matters is because it's not just about sobriety. It's about true transformation. Marian, you are proof that healing isn't just about fitting into the system. It's about breaking free from what no longer serves you. And the way you've done that, it's nothing short of inspiring.
Finally, rehab is the first place where nilienda, nikafeel niko kwa environment yenye naeza jifikiria na nipate time ya kustrategize venye nitarudi back to society na nianze life yangu afresh. So mi naeza sema for me, rehab si venye watu wanafikiria. And I think we need to have a conversation about how rehab really is na venye inasaidia. Iyo ni hospitali na kama ilinisaidia si bado nakaa mrembo.
Yeah, kabisa.
And I'm very smart, si ndio? Ilikuwa inaitwa Living Hope.
Living Hope.
Yes. Hata ukienda kwa rehab, the ratio of men and women, the percentage ni kama 10%. Only about 10% of women actually go to these facilities to seek help. It's not that women don't suffer from addiction. It's because even our families and our loved ones still have that fear of what will people say nikipeleka msichana wangu rehab, msichana wangu anakuaje mlevi, because women, we are put on another moral standard, if I may say, and we're not supposed to do some things like fall into addiction. But what people don't know is addiction is a disease just like any other, and it can affect anyone, old woman, young man, old man, anybody. And Hope Horizon is here today to support women to be able to speak out, to create awareness to everybody else. My viewers, you're listening to me, to know that addiction exists and it can happen to anyone, and it's not something to be shy about. You can come speak out, because there's so much power and healing in speaking out, in sharing, in belonging to a community of people who truly understand you.
It's a conversation that still wraps in shame, silence, and stigma. Societal expectations expects women to hold everything together, to be caretakers, to be strong, to be perfect. And when a woman struggles with addiction, she's judged harshly, treated differently, and often forced to fight in battles of isolation, not to speak about it after recovery, not to tell people about it. And that's why Marion is different. That's what Marion is doing is groundbreaking. She's not just sharing her story. She's breaking barriers, shattering the silence, and showing the world that women's struggles deserve to be seen, understood, talked about without shame. She's proving that addiction doesn't define the person, that healing is possible and vulnerability is strength. Marion is speaking out. You're not just, reclaiming your own story, Marion. She's giving hope to so many women, permission to do the same. She is a force, a leader, a voice that cannot be ignored. And the world needs more like that. Keep going, Marion. You are such a game changer, and I am proud of you and I love you very much, and I'm so lucky to know you.
I've now seen hope that is going to restore her life back, because she has started even doing devotion. She's going to church, which she never used to do. As a family now, we are relaxed. We are happy that now we are going to be a happy, united family as we were before, because we are now feel there is hope in our life. Myself and the family members, now we have peace of mind. And I can see a bright future of Marianne, that she's going to restore her life back, and she's going to be very successful and help others who are also suffering with addiction the way she used to suffer. All have lost their jobs the way she lost the jobs. The key thing, important thing in life is just to have hope, work with a patient who's in addiction, and so pray, because there's nothing that God cannot provide.
Right now she seems very focused, very strong-willed, very passionate in what she's doing, and especially focused, because she never used to focus on something for long. She'd always give up on it along the way. But I'm seeing a very different version of her after the rehab, and quite an encouragement that rehabilitation really still works. Glad to see her transformation.
So thank you so much for listening to my story. Welcome to my podcast again and again. If you can relate to this story, or if you have a loved one who can relate to this story, karibu tena sana. We'll be talking about so many interesting topics. They'll enlighten you. They will help you help people in your life who are struggling like myself. So karibu tena. My name is Marian Mora again. Have a good one. Bye-bye.